Hello, everyone, and welcome to the She Shoots podcast, Women Empowering Women in the Shooting Community, Season 4, Episode 33, Canadian Ladies Trap Shooting Champion, covering the theme of sport shooting. My name is Regina Ruiz Ordonez, and I'm from the Canadian University Shooting Federation. And joining me today, as always, are Dvine Trap and Casey Gavinchuk from Lady Guns, and Kelly Melanson from Maple Seed Project, Sunfire Radio, and CCFR Women's Program. Let's start by thanking our sponsors. So thank you to Cabela's Canada Outdoor Fund, positively shaping the future of the outdoors. Every cent donated by rounding up at checkout goes towards helping Canadian organizations just like ours. Beretta, family owned and operated since 1526. Vortex, the best in optics, and Canada First Ammo. If you have any questions or comments throughout the show, make sure to leave them in the chat box below. Any questions you ask, we'll ask towards our guests at the end of the interview. So that's it for me. Over to Dvine and Kelly to introduce our amazing guest today.
Thank you very much, Regina. And I'm looking forward to introducing our amazing guests. And before I do that, I'm going to share with everybody how I met this amazing woman. And then I'm sure she's going to have a rebuttal. But we will start with, I was off on a flight to Atlantic Canada, 4-hour flight, and this lady sitting beside me, and we chat business. Turns out we're going to the same conference. So we have some business chat. And then, where are you from? What are you interested in? Turns into a chat about shotgunning. And I find out I'm sitting beside the Lynn Smith. Now, I didn't know who the Lynn Smith was until I went back to my hotel room and Googled a little bit, but what an amazing chat we had. And we spent the next few days passing each other in a conference. And tonight, I have the honor of introducing you, Lynn, and Kelly and I have the privilege of interviewing you. So I'm going to jump into your bio, then we're going to get into some questions. So Lynn Smith is the ladies high overall winner of the 2024 Canadian Trap Shooting Championships. They took place in Richmond, British Columbia. She's also the 3-time Canadian Ladies Champion. And her journey began in 2015. And since then, she's registered nearly 72,000 targets across 36 clubs in North America. With a lifetime average of 93.68, let's just say 100. Lynn has reached the 26-yard line in handicap shooting, just 1 yard shy of the wall. She's a 6-time Alberta Provincial Lady Champion and has won the Alberta Provincial Handicap Championship in 2018, besting all competitors. She's also been the Canadian Ladies Singles Champion in 2019, 23, and 24, and secured the Ladies Handicap title in 2019 and 24. Wait, there's more. Lynn achieved her first perfect score of 100 straight in singles in 2019 at the Edmonton Gun Club and has recorded 6 more since, including the notable performance at the World Championship. Her success inspired her family to create, and we're going to hear about it tonight, the Dvine Trap Range, which now hosts annual PITA and ATA shoots. Lynn's dedication and achievements continue to inspire others in the sport and myself and the rest of you who are watching tonight. Welcome, Lynn Smith, to She Shoots.
Hello, everybody.
We're super excited to have you here.
Where do we go from here, Kelly? Where do we go from here?
No, I'm going. Yay! Super excited to have you on. We're humbled by you being able to come on the show tonight, and we're super excited to have somebody of your caliber share your thoughts with us. And I'm so excited and happy that Dvine sat down beside you on a flight, and you had a little bit of a stumbling over her introductions and that too with oh, you're Lynn Smith. We're super excited to have you here tonight and to hear all about you and your successes, and also some inspirational and motivational comments from you. I know that everybody, I'm really excited to have you here tonight. So Why don't we
Well,
get
thank you for that.
So why don't you tell us a little bit? So Dvine did your introduction and a little bit about your bio, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Where'd you grow up? That type of stuff. Tell us a little bit about you and who is Lynn Smith?
Well, I've Lynn Smith. I'm born and raised on the Dvine Métis settlement, so I am a Métis lady. I've been working for the Dvine Métis settlement since 2019. I do grant writing, and I also work for the consultation office in the environmental sector. I oversee our environmental monitors, and I have been creating different programs for the environmental monitoring aspect with Nate. So with that, I'm definitely not a bored person by any means, because when I'm done that, I also own and operate a grain farm with my husband, Jesse Smith, and we also own and operate a PJ's eavesdropping, so we put up eavesdrops too. Although I do that more on the weekends, and my son and my husband do that more just all the time. And then also, as you mentioned, we own the Dvine Trap Club. For some odd reason, my husband thought it was just a great thing to have in the middle of one of our grain fields to put this trap club up. But at the end of the day, it makes for great times, and yeah, lots of fun, lots of friends. So.
And we know Jesse's watching somewhere in the house, so big shout out to Jesse.
Yeah.
Yes, he's actually my coach and one of my, well, I want to say biggest fans. He boosts me for everything. Just to hear my bio, he was the one that actually wrote everything out. I find it a little hard to discuss things about what I do for trap shooting, because even though I'm a 3-time champion and provincials, ladies provincials, it's still surreal and not really believable, even though it's written in ink and in books.
We appreciate how humble you are, but you're clearly an amazing and highly skilled trap shooter. And so when did you start trap shooting? When did you start shooting, actually?
Yeah.
This is actually quite a funny story. When I started shooting, I started 10 years ago, 2015, shortly after Father's Day. A friend of mine who shoots, another lady shooter, she dared me. She knew I was afraid of guns, so she dared me to come and shoot. She was afraid of ice. I'm a curler. That's what I actually was before I started shooting. And she said to me, if you come shooting, I'll go curling. So I took her up on the dare. I said, sure, why not? You're not ever coming shoot or curling. I'll never see her there. Well, she showed up twice.
Oh my gosh.
Twice.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you had to go.
I had to do good, so I showed up on volunteer appreciation night to go and shoot. And obviously my husband was there prior to me shooting, so he helped me. But when I walked up to the line and he was waiting for me with a gun, I was breathing hard. Like I was really scared. Like I'm short of hyperventilating. And he gives me a little spiel and gives me the gun, and he goes, okay, shoot. And he's laughing at me because I go, pull, bang. And he goes, okay, you need to see the target first before you pull the trigger. So after that, I shot my first 25 shells, not shot targets, but I shot at 25 targets. And I basically gave him the gun back and sat down and, almost puked my guts out for that. I was so scared. I was literally so scared. That was a Sunday. And I thought, this is crazy. You've done it once. You've held a gun. Go do it again. So I did. I went out and I shot 7 my next round. And like I said, that was all on a Sunday. I went out league night on the following Tuesday, I went out on league night the following Thursday, and I was in my first competitive shoot that following Saturday.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's quite the trajectory.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you
it
for
is.
sharing about your fear and overcoming it, because so
Yeah.
many women are afraid of pressing a trigger and recoil and shotguns. So that's amazing that you can go from so fearful and hyperventilating to competing within 2 weeks. So good for you.
That's
That
wonderful.
that first few months that I was shooting, I shot so much with a gun that didn't fit properly, that I was bruised. All my face, my top, like where the gun sit, I was bruised. So then when I went to work, it was kind of funny to see people's reaction that come into my office and kind of like, oh, I hope your husband got the worst of it. But yeah,
Right.
like I never even thought of that until I was at the office, right? And I had to tell everybody, no, just started a new sport. But yeah, now I shoot with a pro soft stock and everything like that. That first tournament that I shot, and this is another funny story, because we shoot 300 shells in a day,
Mm.
and a gun is round about 10 pounds, the gun. So you're lifting that 300 times. So it's like 3,000 pounds that you're lifting throughout the day, plus all the exhilaration, the thought that goes into shooting. At the end of it all, we all kind of get together and talk about the day and how everything went on. I fell asleep in the chair. Like I was doing the ugly sleep too. It's like, and drool coming, and they're laughing at me. But it's tiring. I don't do that anymore. Let's just say that.
Oh, well, you know how many women right now are thinking, oh, thank God I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. Or maybe it's just me. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's really, really good.
Yep.
I love it. It is heavy and it is exhausting, and it takes a lot of physical and mental fortitude to get through 300 rounds. I agree with you. Yeah. So what was your home club that you were shooting at and all of this started at when the whole thing got underway?
So I actually started off at the High Prairie Gun Club, and it was Dennis Hazen. He's one of my mentors, my first mentor actually. He's the one that cheered me on right from the first shot, to my first 25 in a row. But yeah, High Prairie was the first place I shot. Met a lot of people. And then, yeah, we built our own trap range and proceeded to go from there. And we have people at our club, and some that come from the High Prairie Club will come shoot at our club. So no, the camaraderie amongst clubs is good. Like, the shooting world is fabulous. I've only, throughout the 10 years that I've shot, the numerous places that I've shot with literally thousands of people, I probably met maybe a handful that kind of rubbed me the wrong way that I didn't like, but majority of them, yeah, like they're great people.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, and that for me was really illuminated when two women sitting on a plane. Not only are we into shooting sports and not only shotgun. Now, I don't shoot trap. I've shot it fun and recreationally, but I shoot a different shotgun sport called sporting clays. But we know a lot of the same people, and and the community of shotgunners, especially we're both in Alberta, and we started throwing names around. And a gunny girl that was in the calendar, we know her, and so it was amazing because we went from perfect strangers, and by the time we landed in Halifax, we were laughing and making jokes about all of the shooting sports and the people. So it's a family, it's a community, and there aren't many bad apples in the bunch. I agree.
Yeah. And I guess just to complete your story that you started off there,
you're going to tell stories about me now, aren't you?
I wasn't going to mention your name, but you did bring it up. But yeah, sitting on the plane, and then we got off the plane. We're waiting for cabs, and I'm waiting there with my brother Sanford and Lance and Greg, and talking with Deneen. And then when Deneen gets into her cab, she says basically she's the better shooter when it comes to shooting guns,
Because
right?
sporting clays is harder than trap. Yes, that's what I said.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But the way it come out, it was funny. I'm laughing, and my brother is looking at her as she gets in the cab, and he just spins around to me and goes, "Are you going to let her get away with that?" And I'm like, it's okay. Just leave it. She knows who I am. Like, it'll be all fine. She'll Google me if she really wants to know more. And lo and behold, Deneen did Google. We met her a couple days later, and my cousin Lance was there, and yeah, Deneen comes up to me and she's like, "You're the Canadian champion," and Lance is like, "You're right. She did Google you."
I might have also bought a couple of beers in making up for being a bit of a braggart.
All's good. Now we're here, so
Yeah.
Just all fun, and yeah, it was a lovely way to meet some amazing people. So, and here we are. So
exactly. So,
Lynn, how long did it take you to get your gun fitted to you? After your first?
I forget what the first gun that I actually have. I'm on my third gun. I had a Perazzi in between. My first one was an automatic. And at the time that I first started, I didn't really know what I shot, didn't really care. But it was an automatic, so I wanted a break action. So my husband got me a Perazzi MX8. So I shot that for quite a bit, and I literally just shot it until it broke to pieces, or it didn't really work anymore. And then I got my Guarini. That would have been, I think I have my Guarini now for about 5 years. But then I went to Phil Sims and got a ProSoft stock built for me. So that makes a world of difference for myself.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Both great guns to choose, and they're certainly really high performance guns. So I hope that they'll watch the She Shoots podcast and sponsor you for a whole new set of guns sometime soon. So.
Well, I've had my Guarini for a long time now, so it's still going strong. And that's why I don't think I'll really go to anything else. My husband asked me if I wanted, a newer, more expensive Kohler, and I'm like, no.
No.
I'm fine with my Guarini. I'll
So
shoot it.
What length of barrels do you use?
I use a 32 and a 30.
Okay.
So a 32 for singles and handicap, and then a 30 for doubles.
Very nice. And do you have an ammo preference?
No, I absolutely don't. I've shot different ones. There's some have a little bit more recoil, but at the end of the day, with the Phil Sims ProSoft, doesn't really matter. But a cheap shell and a expensive shell break the target just the same. So.
So I think this goes back to Kelly's point, Lynn, about gun fit. And so gun fit makes the difference on recoil management for sure. So
yes. Yeah. When I first started, I had the shoulder pads, I had everything, because I got so bruised up the first go around. But now I don't wear any of that stuff. It's
you don't need it.
Yeah, I don't need it.
The gun's fitted to you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That's fantastic. So can we talk a little bit about the Dvine Trap Range on the Peavine Nation? I would love to talk about what you built.
Oh, so when we first started the Dvine, we started one trap house, and it was basically my husband and my kids, my 3 kids, myself, and his brother that are out there putting down concrete and making the house itself. At the end of the day, the whole thing is we now have 3 trap houses that are out there, and it's been my family the entire time that has made the foundations and everything for it. My dad actually gave us a sea can from his old business that he retired from. He gave us a sea can, and we made that into a clubhouse. It's been a wonderful experience through that. Having our shoots, we basically have one shoot throughout the whole year, a big one, but just so technically it's 4 days, but the first 2 days is a PITA shoot, and the last 2 days is a ATA shoot. But we have lots of people that come. We have so many things that are involved in our shoot. Just because it's so far north, we have to pretty much do everything. So say if you were to come to our shoot and you phoned us and you wanted to come, we would try, my husband would do his best to find you some sort of accommodations, whether we're billeting you out at friends and family, thank God for them, or we get you a hotel room at a cheaper rate, or, you know, we just want you here. And we do have people that come out in their campers and stuff like that, and stay at our farm. So we don't charge for that. We have sponsors. So A&W is actually one of our biggest sponsors, along with Homestead Outfitters.
Nice.
So throughout the 4 days, we have breakfast, lunch, and supper. That is,
Oh my goodness.
it's free. There's no charge to it, except
Wow.
for the Saturday supper. We have steak and stuff like that on the Saturday, and that one we do charge for. But at the end of the day, we have other things that go on. Friday night, we have a crib tournament, so and anyone could join. Saturday, we have the regular tournament, but we also have what we call talent night. If anyone has any kind of talent in the shop, they could do their thing, and then at the end we have basically a barn dance, or what we call karaoke. And we have Dom Stevens, who makes charcuterie boards. They're worth like, I think they're like $300 a charcuterie board, but he donates one for the karaoke. All you have to do is go up, and you could sing with all your friends or whatever, and then we draw out of a hat at the end of the night. So it's all lots of fun. We also have a shoot for wine. So we have a spot picked out that is 30 yards, or 30-yard line, I guess you could say, away. So, a trap range goes from 16 to 27. So we're a little bit further back from that. And if you want to do the shoot for wine, it's a case of wine that's sponsored by Phantom Hills, Lornamshide. And we shoot from there, and the one that hits the most wins the wine. But there's also colored targets that are in there. So if you hit a colored target, then you get to steal a wine from the overall winner of the case.
All right, we need to go to this.
I was going to say, this sounds like the end of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, it is so much fun, and just the people, and we include everybody. So the thing is we have just as much volunteers as we have shooters.
I bet.
It's quite a few. We even had one guy from BC who come to us, and he goes, "I don't shoot, but can I come and I'll volunteer to help out?" Like,
amazing.
Just from all the fun that we have, right? So
yeah. So where is Dvine exactly? Can you give us like a geographical location for those of us that are a little further afield? Like, I know that you're in Alberta, but in relation to Edmonton or other,
we are 4 hours north of Edmonton. Okay. And our club is actually about 20-25 minutes north of High Prairie. So High Prairie is the closest town to us. So we're just before Peavine, like the Métis settlement, just before our house. It's on our farm. So locals here call Peavine the Vine. And so when we first started our club, people would ask us, "Where are you located? Where are you? Where are you?" And we're always saying we're before Peavine. before P-Vine, and then it got into before the Vine, and then it just turned into Dvine. So that's where the name of our club comes from. I have all kinds of crazy stories, but
the evolution of the name, that's fantastic. And so how often do you open that for practice? Like, do you open it in May and leave it open all the way till the snow flies, or?
Just because we own it and it's private, if it's warm enough to go out shooting, we'll go out shooting.
You just go out.
And if anybody wants to come out shooting, they just have to call my husband, Jesse Smith, and he'll set up a shoot date and time when they want to go out, and maybe get a few people to come out. We actually had some friends come up from the States this past fall, and they come shot at our club, and they couldn't believe how far north we are.
Right. I can imagine.
Go north and keep going.
And
Yes,
once you're
yes.
north, you go further north. Exactly.
When you think you're done and almost through the trees, just keep on going.
Keep on going.
So it sounds like a ton of fun, and I love the story of how you got up and running in this sport. So let's talk a little bit about your practice, your maintenance. What do you do to stay on top of your game?
I try not to fight with my husband every time he wants to go out, and he keeps telling me, you got to get out there and shoot. You got to get out there and shoot. I am such a big turkey for, the environment, in the sense that it's too cold out there to go. It's raining. It's windy. When I'm shooting in a tournament, though, that doesn't matter. I'm out there shooting, and I should be practicing in all kinds of weather. And, that's a full-rounded shooter to be able to shoot and all that. But yeah, I'm one of your biggest chickens. I like to be comfortable, and I like to be warm. But I'll go out and shoot with him. As for practice, I should do it way more often. And at the end of the day, like I said, my husband's always after me to try and do gun mounts and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I love the sport. I absolutely love the sport. Want to do it as long as I can. It's just the camaraderie, the fun that comes out of it, the people that you meet, and there's nothing more exhilarating than blowing a target to bits where you just smoke.
True. So true. So true. Absolutely. So then what are your big goals for this year and going forward? Because you've clearly won everything. So what more can you do?
Oh, there is a lot more that I could do. I know when we were working on my bio, and I sent it to you, and I sent the picture, and the trophy that comes for the top lady is a crystal bowl, and it says Hall of Fame bowl, but it's not really the Hall of Fame. It's just Hall of Fame sponsors the bowl. However, I do want to be on the Hall of Fame. Eventually I'll get there, I'm sure. I'm hoping. I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I'm hoping I'll eventually be on the Hall of Fame with other greats, like Diane Payton. She's in there. She's one of my mentors. I'd love to have my name right beside her, it's, and then just to get onto the 27-yard line. I'm so struggling from the 26. There's just a huge gap there to get from the 26 to the 27. I will get there. I'll persevere. I know I will. I might be in a wheelchair and on a breathing apparatus, but I'm sure I'll get there.
You'll get there. You will.
So for people that don't shoot trap, Lynn, we don't have to explain the whole sport, but we're talking about from the 16 all the way back to the 30, the unofficial 30, where the wine is. But explain to people that don't shoot, and I don't shoot trap, so I've only ever shot from the 16. And so what happens as you move further back? Explain to people what that does to your mind, and how do you change your game up and your chokes and anything? What happens?
Well, at the end of the day, trap shooting, any shooting sport, I guess, is all very mental, right? So in handicap, what they call handicap, you actually start further back. So the 16-yard line is really singles and doubles, and handicap, you go back a few yards to the 19 is where the ladies start, and I think the men start at the 20. And then you move as you get better in your spot and you start winning, either you win a tournament or you shoot 96 or more, and then you get punted back a yard, and you'll stay there for as long as you could keep your average for over 1,000 targets, and they usually try to keep you there. You could refuse going forward, but yeah, so you just slowly go back, and it's taken me since I started, obviously, to the 26, and I will get to the 27.
Yeah. So again, for those that are listening or watching, when you line up against your competitors, are you staggered based on your handicap, or do you all shoot from the same position and move backwards?
No, we get divided up with the same, not necessarily the same handicap. There could be a difference of 2 yards, just for safety reasons, right? So you may be shooting with people that you never really shot with before, but you know, that's part of the draw, I think, is to shoot with different people and to meet the different people. It's amazing in that our sport is probably one of the only sports where you could be Joe Schmo starting for the very first time, and you could be shooting right next to the best of the best in the sport, and you could meet all your mentors and talk to your mentors on an equal footing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I want to talk about mentors, and I'm sure Kelly loves the topic of mentors and coaches. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about your favorite places to shoot. You've traveled clearly around North America because you've won a bunch of titles. So tell us about some of your favorite tournaments and some of the favorite clubs that you've shot from or shot at.
Sure. So one of my favorites is Fort St. John, Rod and Gun Club. The people there are just fabulous. It's almost like being home and being at your own club. It's, I don't know, when you go into their club, like right into their range, it's almost like stepping into a whole different world. It's beautiful. Yeah, just the people, the targets are very nice. But if we are talking targets, the best targets and maybe the best background would be Calgary's gun club. Yeah, I haven't, my husband and I haven't seen anything that comes close to the Calgary Gun Club, but I haven't been to some other shoots that I would like to go to, and maybe that's another goal of mine too, is to go to these other shoots to see these.
Tell us about those.
Ranges, right? Pardon me?
Tell us about those ones. Which ones are you hoping to go to?
I actually, I'd have to get my husband here because he knows all the names of them. But Grand Forks would be one. I forget what the one, I'm terrible with names. I'm absolutely terrible, but there's one in Montana that they went to. I'd like to go to that one. And then one in California that everyone talks about. They call it the Crab Buckle or something. I'm not overly. Yeah, I'm terrible with that, but I know my husband plans all these things and he talks about them, and those are the ones that actually stick out in my mind that we would like to eventually go to. And I'm sure there's more. The other place I absolutely love to shoot is on the East Coast, and it doesn't matter if it's Yarmouth or if it's St. John's. There again, people are fabulous. In the middle of shooting, or not in the middle of shooting, but you come off the line and you have seafood to eat.
Oh wow.
They're very good about the seafood. And then this past year in St. John's, I would go out and I'd shoot and get off the line and go into the back 40 and go pick blueberries.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just amazing, just everybody that you meet and get to see just different places. But the weather in St. John's, on the East Coast is something different. You could have all 4 seasons in one day. You
Oh
could
my
be
gosh.
you better have shorts underneath your snow pants and
Yeah. It's a true
your
story. Yeah.
So
and that one time I shot it there and it was pouring rain. So, your natural inclination is to put your head down and to keep the rain off your glasses. Well, there's something different there because the rain comes up from the ground too. It's just interesting. It's something to experience.
that's funny. You need windshield wipers. I was curious, shooting in Canada and the US in the trap world with the trap family. Is there a difference in shooting an American tournament versus a Canadian one other than seafood and blueberries?
Just the size.
Size.
Yeah, the amount of
And
people,
people.
yeah, that are there. Like shooting in worlds, we have to drive basically from trap house to trap house. Uh, on that though, you don't really get to meet a lot of people because it's like being in a city.
Okay.
You're just passing by people and you're shooting, and really the ones that you meet are pretty much on your line. If
Yeah.
or if you're visiting after a couple people, and then you meet people that they're visiting, and yeah, it's a little bit more impersonal.
Okay.
That
What about
that describes a lot. Sorry, Cal, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, okay, you talked about some of your favorite places to shoot, but what's one of your most favorite memories of a shoot that you've gone to, or one of the most, whether it's a championship or
The
maybe it's
Lynn Smith
actually,
highlight reel.
yeah.
Yeah.
In actuality, the accolades are great, but the memories I have, I guess, we after a provincial shoot, and everyone hits the wine or the beer or whatever, and I was sitting with a fellow lady shooter, and we're having a couple of wobbly pops there, and she's hugging me, and she's like, "I like you." She goes, "But one of these days, I am going to kick your ass." And I said to her, I welcome the challenge. Like, this is great. And
Yeah.
then this year, unfortunately, I was unsuccessful in getting the Alberta title this year. And it went to, a very wonderful lady. And at the end, she beat me, and she wanted a picture with me. It was an iconic picture, I guess, in the sense that I'm handing over the reins to her. And the fact that she thought that was great, it humbled me. It touched me, right? Um,
Yeah.
Absolutely did that. And a fellow person said, "Why did you do that? Weren't you mad?" And I'm like, you know what?
Mhm.
Like my husband says, if you don't like it, shoot better. So
Good advice.
That's good. So,
But it's
so a
amazing.
question, Cal, a question just rolled in, and I don't know if you want to ask it because it's come from the living room of Jesse Smith.
oh my God.
Well, why don't we put it up
So,
here?
yeah.
So, oh,
So,
I would like to ask her in a shoot off, would you rather beat Brad Johnson, the 4-time Canadian trap champion, or your husband? Great question, Jesse.
awesome question, Jesse.
Oh my God. That would be so surreal to actually beat Brad. I would be dancing up and down if I beat Brad. But in a shoot, I've been in shoot offs with my husband, and my poor husband has no fans when it comes to being in a shoot off with me. Yeah,
That's awesome.
we were in a shoot. We were in this uh, shoot off for an old trophy in Calgary, and it's called the Diamond Slider. So you move up and down and shoot 75 targets, right? Well, we tied out of everybody in the shoot. We tied, so it was just Jesse and I in the shoot off. Well, like I said, everyone's cheering against him, and I beat him. I did beat him, and they don't normally post anything or do anything with stuff like that. But the next morning we walked in, there's a great big poster up on the wall. Lynn beat Jesse Smith and and the diamond shoot off. So mind you, though, he brings it on himself. He's a nice guy and he's everyone's friend. But yeah, at the end of the day, they all want, he chatters too much. Is what his problem is.
I'm sure Jesse is super proud of all your accomplishments
absolutely.
and that. And so
that's awesome. Well, so speaking of amazing people, do you want to switch over to mentors, coaches, and maybe people you're coaching? So you dropped a few names at the top of the show, Lynn. Let's talk about your mentors and some of those rocks that have helped you through. We've established Jesse lands on both sides. He's a competitor and a supporter. But what about some of your other mentors?
Well, the ones that really stick out in my mind is Dennis Hazen. He is a resident of High Prairie, and he was the one that basically got the few trap shooters in High Prairie out to other tournaments. Not necessarily shooting. I never met him until I got to the gun club, but once there, and then he got us to go out to other shoots and meet other people and different genres of shooting. He's the one that kind of coached me at the beginning to some degree. When I won in 2018, it was basically his voice that I could hear in my ear. Hold lower, and when it's raining, this and that, and so he was pretty much my first mentor. And then as time went on and I started going to the different shoots, Diane Payton was the one that I watched. And I remember sitting behind, she's shooting handicap on the 27, and I'm watching her from behind. If she heard this, she'd be like, I never noticed that. But yeah, I was sitting behind there with my husband and we're watching her. And it was so impressive when it was her turn and she'd get that gun up into her shoulder and you could literally see her lock into it and the muscles in her back just pop out because she's holding it. So, it and then just blowing up those targets with ease, just making it look so easy. I thought she was almost untouchable. And then I got to meet her. And yes, she's just like the nicest person. And now when I'm at a shoot and I see her and her husband, we'll sit and have a glass of wine and talk about families and this and that. And another one is her husband. Her husband will, give me some advice going forward. He's another great trap shooter, Art Payton. And he's fixed my gun a couple times. And when my Perazzi, when my Perazzi did break down on me once, Diane let me use her gun. Wonderful, wonderful people. And there are so many of them that are willing to help out. If you run into problems on the trap line, feel free to help. People will help. So much so that when, being a woman shooting, I had every Tom, Dick, and Harry wanting to help me and give me advice, whether they were a good shooter or a bad shooter. So, you just got to take everything with a grain of salt and hope you're taking the advice that you should be taking and, weeding out the ones that you shouldn't be taking because bad habits are hard to break. So,
yeah. That's a beautiful, beautiful story of how a lot of guys stepped up to help you. We've had both sides of that story from various guests over the years. So that's fantastic. So what about young shooters? Are you working with any young shooters, Lynn, or helping any along during shoots?
To tell you the honest truth, my version of helping shooters out is you need to have my coach. There's my husband. I am not a teacher. I was never made to be a teacher. I had trouble helping my kids out with their homework because I'm just not a teacher person, right? I could do it. I could do the sport, but you have to teach it. I have issues, and and who better to teach you if you're looking at what I could do? get my coach to help you out, and maybe you could do what I could do because my coach is helping.
Great advice. That's great advice. Well, if he's taking students, we're gonna have
Yeah.
to we're gonna have to find out. So
Yeah. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have looked up to you and all your accomplishments as well. And it sounds like Jesse is somebody that you're promoting as somebody who eh, can help others as well. But I know that a lot of people, you're talking about all those people that you have as mentors or people that you um, give credit to, but I think there are people that would say the exact same thing about you as well, and motivating them to go to the next level. And it sounds like you're doing it with a lot of fun as well. I think that's one of the biggest things with shooting. You have to have fun. If you're not having fun, and it sounds like you're having a lot of fun, but also being honestly quite competitive as well.
Well, what is that old saying there? A bad day of shooting is better than a good day at work.
there you go.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
you
tell me
go.
about it. You were talking about some of your sponsors. So do you want to tell us about some of the people that are your sponsors? I'm not talking about, well, okay, whether it's your guns or what have you, but you were talking about A&W being one of the major sponsors for your shooting event that you have. But who are your personal sponsors as well?
I actually don't have any.
Really?
I really don't. I find it hard to find sponsors within Canada. Like I work a lot with industry, different industries. So I have approached them for sponsorships, but it's unfortunate that in Canada, well, and not every industry, but the bigger ones, they all have clauses in their policies and stuff that anything to do with guns they cannot promote, which is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. I honestly think everyone should, especially coming where I come from and being so scared when I started to shoot. I honestly think everybody should learn how to shoot. The fact that I could do that and I could actually protect myself if need be, and I could feed myself if need be. And I think everybody should have that right in that, to feel that same way. Yeah, I think, and if in order to be safer, you should know how to handle a gun. At the end of the day, if you really want your people to be safe, learn how to handle a gun properly.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that and sharing that message too. I think it's something that a lot of people need to hear.
I agree. And for everybody listening, watching, and on YouTube for the next however many months to come, Lynn Smith is looking for sponsorship. So reach out to She Shoots and let us know if you're interested in sponsoring the amazing Lynn Smith. So
thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about women in the shooting sports.
Yeah.
Oh my, there's not very many of us, but what they're very strong women. And I know they're wonderful people. Like I said, Diane is wonderful. Tamara Hunt, for asking me, she's our past provincial champion here, and for just having that picture with me. We pretty much try to support each other to some degree up until we're on the line against each other in a shoot off. Then it's like, no holds
every
barred.
woman for herself.
So are you seeing more women showing up? Are you seeing younger girls coming to try it?
I'm seeing more, but for some odd reason, they're not really going into the competitive side of the shooting. They tend to stay with the league where it's not. I'm not sure why that is. Like the gun clubs are growing outside of the competitive, I think. And it's unfortunate, and I'm not sure if people just don't like the competitiveness that goes on, or what the scoop is. I'm absolutely baffled on that, because I do see a lot of female shooters or ones that are up and coming. They'll come and watch, and yeah, they'll tell me, no, I'm not going. I'll shoot in the league. I'll shoot in the league. But again, coming from where I came from, and a week later being in my first shoot, a week after I started shooting, and bottom of the barrel, absolute bottom of the barrel. But this is an individual sport for the person, and really the person that you're shooting against is yourself. You're wanting to make yourself better. So at the end of the day, that's really all that matters, just yourself.
It's a great message. And I think that a lot of people are really worried about being judged by other people and the people on the line. So they're a little bit worried about messing up. And so that's a great message, Lynn. Just get out and have fun and compete with yourself. And before you know it, it's not as serious a game as it is a fun game. And then, the rest goes from there. So it's a good question to find out why or how we could influence more women getting into the competitive side of things. We had a recent show where we had some young ladies from long range rifle shooting, and they talked about how popular it's becoming. So maybe there's a shift in shooting sport types, or maybe we just haven't promoted some of the classics like trap the way that some of the others are getting some Hollywood coverage, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be a sniper or a John Wick. So
Or Jessica Wick. Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Trap and skeet, sporting clays, all really, really, really fun to do. And it'd be great to see more women out and shooting clays specifically.
Absolutely. And I may not be a teacher by any means, but any lady out there that wants to call me or whatever, if you want to jump on a line beside me, I'm absolutely fine with that. So yeah.
So what are a few other things we could do to get girls out there? Do you think, Lynn? What are some ideas? What do you guys do at Dvine or at the other clubs to get these fun nights going and get women out there?
Yeah, I think just because of all the different things that we have going, so other people can actually come and watch, and just to see the different things that are happening. You might get other shooters out there. Like there's many a time where I'll go to a shoot where there's basically it's just the shoot itself, and you see so many other shooters, typically guys, out and about. And then when it comes to the Saturday for the supper, that's when all the wives come out of the trailers or what, and that's when you see them. And it's like, oh, like, is there not something else that we could bring everybody together in doing something? And like in that Wish for Wine that we do, everyone comes out just to watch that, and just to have I don't know, the spectators, I guess.
Yeah.
You'd have to start from being a spectator to see it, and then maybe you might want to try it. It's hard to say.
Sorry,
I was just going to say, when is your event? When is maybe people can reach out to you and say, hey, I want to come out, but I want to volunteer, I want to help in some way. I want to see what this is all about.
So it is actually the end of July. You'd think I'd have the date down pat. I'm sure my husband's going to yell at me here.
It's okay. I think Casey's going to put some social media contact up, so they'll be able to find you.
I'm just looking on my calendar. It's the end of June is when it is
the 28th, the last week. Then
June 19th is when it starts. Yeah.
And what's the name of the event?
It's actually PITA, Alberta PITA Provincial. You could look under that. That's the first 2 days, and then the last 2 days is the D Hazen shoot. So
awesome.
But they're all like the same.
Yep.
Absolutely makes sense. I was going to say there's a couple things I've learned tonight, some great takeaways, but the wine line is something new for track for me.
Oh, and
The
you know,
wine line.
I absolutely forgot to say, you know, our like I said about the volunteers, we have some fabulous volunteers, but I have to mention my sister-in-laws, Judy Gaucher and Angela Gaucher. Uh, they hand make the quilts that we give out for trophies.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so our HOAs will go home with, I think the HOA one is actually like the trophy is a king size quilt, and then the rest
Wow.
are queen size. But yeah, absolutely, and you know, wonderful, wonderful job that they do.
I saw
Wow.
some photos she shared with me while we got to know each other out in Halifax, and they are stunning, stunning
Wow.
quilts. So what a neat prize. Absolutely. So,
Sounds amazing.
well, I think Casey just threw up your social media contact. And I don't know, did we get any other questions? We have one starred here. The question was from Gwen Van Cleef. Has Lynn tried bunker trap? We were talking
Yeah.
about different traps, trap shooting.
I did. I actually did try bunker trap once. We were in Saskatchewan at one of their provincial shoots, and just for giggles, a few of us asked if we could try the bunker trap. Uh, and it was a lot of fun, and it is so different. Um, but typically, the shells that we use are the shells that I had. Number eights are definitely too slow for the
Are they?
bunker targets.
Do you want to explain to the
What
audience
is
what bunker
what is
trap is
yeah.
versus a regular trap?
So yeah, for the trap that I shoot, it's one machine that is in what we call a house, and it throws out targets anywhere. I want to say anywhere in your peripheral, but you know, anywhere in front of you.
Yeah.
But it's just one machine. Whereas bunker trap is international trap. That is what you see in the Olympics. And just to make it fair, in the Olympics, they have something like 15 trap machines, and each machine will throw one target specifically how it's supposed to be, in different ways. So each competitor will actually have the exact same targets as the previous competitor, just to make it fair for the Olympics. But a bunker trap is so expensive, and there's not many of them around Canada. So the one closest to us would be just outside of Edmonton, I believe. There's not, I think there's like 5 bunker traps in all of Canada. So it was fun though. At the end of the day, it was fun. But any kind of shooting sport is a lot of fun.
You're right.
Absolutely. I think the one you mentioned just east of Edmonton, my very, very first sporting clays tournament in pouring rain, borrowing somebody's rain gear that was like a 6'5" man, 230 pounds. And I had to shoot a bunker trap target on one of my stations. And wow. I mean, that was crazy. The whole thing was crazy. My first competition, everything, but I'd never seen bunker trap. And it is fast and crazy. So, but the whole thing seemed crazy to me, quite frankly, at the time. So,
Yeah.
Yes. Can I ask a favor if you don't mind?
absolutely.
So I mentioned a few of our sponsors
Yep.
for the Dvine, but I didn't mention them all. I don't know if I could actually mention them all.
Yes,
There's,
you can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
but if you don't mind me, so Homestead Outfitters, they are a local group of friends, but they do all of our cooking basically for the breakfast, lunch, and suppers. They do all that. And they're also our curling buddies that are on there. So great group of people. A&W in High Prairie, Louise and Bob Owens. Phantom Hill Winery, so that's Lauren Umscheid. Pop's Home Hardware donated all the lumber that we use for all of our picnic tables and you know, a few other things. Polis Farms sponsors the crib tournament and also the Friday night supper, which is a fish supper and chippets is what we call them, and homemade pies. So yeah, and then we also have like a few people that have donated different things just to shoot itself, like Dave Jeffries, Seymour Young, Dom Stevens, Brad Johnson from Prosy, Alberta, and Darren Schuler. They've donated shells for trophies. So yeah, those are pretty much the main ones. I hope I didn't forget anybody. If I did, you could talk to me, not to Jesse, and we'll get that figured out.
Well, thank you for sharing all of them. In Canada, we've talked about shooting being a family thing, and sponsors are so important. And anybody who's put a shoot on knows how important volunteers and sponsors are. So thank you, Lynn, for mentioning them, and thank them for keeping shooting fun and getting people out. So that's fantastic.
We were actually told that our shoot is like a family reunion with guns.
Yeah, it sounds like it. When you were mentioning all the sponsors and all the different things that you do, it sounds like such a great time, and it sounds like a lot of people will come out and have exactly that, a great time. It's so great to see a lot of the community involved too, whether it's through sponsorship or volunteering and just helping out. I did want to say thank you to Jesse. Jesse has been commenting throughout the whole entire show. We could have actually had him on too, I guess, but he's been a good reminder too, and giving some great questions and great prompts too. And it sounds like there's some other people here that have been watching too, that are friends of yours, Debbie and Gwen and Roland. It looks like they've been commenting too, and giving some great comments about you, and also all the fun that they have too with shooting with you.
Oh, you know, without the volunteers, we'd be nothing. So, you know, I would love to name all the volunteers that we have, but it's just so numerous. You know, just a big shout out to them, and they know who they are. Love you all.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, we're at the top of the hour. I can't believe it already. It's been so much fun. It's been so much fun. And Lynn, you are such a great ambassador for your sport, and thank you. And it was my pleasure to get to meet you on the plane, and indeed even more of a pleasure to get to have you on the show tonight. So thank you
for having me. It's an honor.
And it's great to have the other ladies back on the show too. Rahina, we're going to turn it over to you and Casey. I think we covered all the questions.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
So that's great. Did we cover how to reach out to Lynn pages?
No, we didn't. And Casey's she's going to put up the contact information.
There it is.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss out on that. So people will reach out to Lynn if they need to. So I'll just quickly go through our upcoming events. So we've been planning events for International Women's Day. As we all know, it's coming up in March. March 8th is International Women's Day. And we like to have some events alongside with some of the CUSF student clubs. So for sure, we have an event happening at York. So it's alongside the club TSS at York on March 8th in Toronto. We do need some volunteers for these events. So if anyone's interested on volunteering, you can send me an email, Regina.ordonez@csf.ca, and we would love to have you if you're in the area and you're available to volunteer on that day. We'll just need some ROs, ideally some female ROs for the event, so we can have them. It's going to be an all-women's event. So yeah, and then we're also going to have an event in Langley at the Langley Range with the CFSS club at the Simon Fraser University or College. Yeah, down in Burnaby. They're in Burnaby, but the range is located in Langley. So this is going to be a smaller event, so we're all good. It's filled up. But if you're in the area and you're going to the school, maybe you want to look into the club so you can join them. And I believe they're also a fairly new club, so they're looking for members to join the club. Other than that, regarding the CUSF, we're always looking for volunteers. You can just send us a brief email at submissions@cusf.ca. And then also, if you're a student at a Canadian university that does not currently have a club, you can send us an email at submissions@cusf.ca, and we can help you get one started. Other than that, that's off to Kelly for Maple Seeds.
Okay, so our 2025 calendar is currently being planned. Check out our website, mapleseedrifleman.com. We are going to be placing events on there pretty soon. Ontario, we have some events confirmed. Also, Alberta, I know, and we're planning the other provinces as well. We're just getting those uploaded, and then you can start registering for them. We're super excited for 2025. Yeah. That's it. What about Lady Guns? Janine?
Well, I'm going to touch on an International Women's Day shoot that's just being postponed.
Right.
In Calgary, we had one lined up in partnership with one of our previous guests, the Canadian Criminal Justice Academy, and we are going to go ahead with it. We just had to postpone the date because the cadre of students are busy working on some other things right now. So Lady Guns is really excited to be working in and alongside Lonnie and the Justice Academy to try and put some shoots together with CUSF here in Calgary. We're going to do some fun shoots, and the plan is to get the students their our pals, and get them having some competitive shooting opportunities. So that's going to be on my plate going forward. And I'm looking forward to being able to share more with you as things progress.
Awesome. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Okay, so let's just move on to thank our sponsors and wrapping this thing up. So thank you once again to Cabela's Canada Outdoor Fund, Beretta, Vortex, and Canada First Ammo. If you like today's episode, please leave us a like and follow us so you don't miss out on any of our episodes. You can watch us on YouTube and Facebook, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. If you liked our message and would like to learn more about our programs, check out our websites at cusf.ca, ladyguns.ca, and mapleseedrifleman.com. To support us and get some additional perks, check out our membership programs. Thank you all for tuning into the She Shoot Podcast, Season 4, Episode 37, Canadian Ladies Trap Shooting Champion. Make sure to join us on March 11th for the next episode of the She Shoot Podcast, and also our International Women's Day episode at our regular time, 5 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. MST, 8 p.m. EST, and keep an eye on our social media pages for the episode announcements. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you.